What's going on, guys? It's one thing to be an NFL player, it's another to be a legend. The greatest football players of all time simply came through in the most clutch of situations. They pulled it off time and time again when it mattered most. Some would suggest they have ice water in their veins, a common saying for players who are always calm under pressure. We see dozens of clutch NFL moments every year, but there are a handful of absolute cold-blooded moments that stand out most. So let's dive into it. And a big shout out to Dominique Roseberry for suggesting this video. Make sure to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications because we post videos all the time. New videos all the time. Subscribe. Number 12, 1993 NFC wildcard. Favre and Sharp tame Lions. The Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers are two of the oldest and most historic NFL franchises. But the Lions have been one of the saddest clubs in the Super Bowl era, while the Packers have established a remarkable winning tradition since the Lombardi Trophy was introduced. The Lions, led by Barry Sanders, were so close to taking down the Brett Favre-led Packers in the 1993 NFC wildcard game. Detroit led 24-21 with just over a minute left. They just needed to stop this nobody named Favre, and the game was theirs. Instead, Favre saw a wide-open Sterling Sharp down the right sideline, and he hit his star wide receiver for the game-winning score. Favre and Sharp had stunned all of the Motor City, and the Packers defense held on for the win. It was the first of many cold-blooded moments for Favre in his illustrious career. Number 11, Terrell Owens. The Catch Part 2. The San Francisco 49ers hosted the Green Bay Packers in the 1998 NFC wildcard game at Candlestick Park. The Packers had eliminated San Fran in the previous 3 postseasons, but Steve Young and Terrell Owens ensured that in this case, the times were changing. The 49ers trailed by 4 points in less than 2 minutes to go, but Young drove his squad downfield with a chance to win it. They had time for 2 cracks at the end zone, and in the waning seconds, Young spotted an open TO right down the seam. The 49ers had finally conquered their kryptonite, and the legend of Terrell Owens had begun. It just took that one cold-blooded moment for Owens to break through. Number 10, Super Bowl 49. Malcolm Butler picks off Russell Wilson. You're probably screaming at us for not having this higher on the list. Well, we simply look at the majority of this play as 70% stupidity on the Seattle Seahawks end. The other 30% was pure cold-bloodedness from Malcolm Butler, still enough to make our list. The New England Patriots erased a 10-point fourth-quarter deficit and led 28-24 in the waning minutes. But Russell Wilson got the ball with 2 minutes left, and he had led Seattle all the way down to the 1-yard line. They had 3 chances to win the game, and the whole world expected Seattle to feed Marshawn Lynch. Instead, Pete Carroll called for Wilson to try a slant pass, and the cold-blooded Malcolm Butler made them pay for it. Not trying to take anything away from Butler here, but I still can't believe Seattle threw the ball. You have Marshawn Lynch. What are you doing? Poor guys. Number 9, 2012 AFC Divisional Round, Joe Flacco and the Mile High Miracle. The Baltimore Ravens met Peyton Manning and the top-seeded Denver Broncos in the 2012 AFC Divisional Round. This back-and-forth shootout saw Denver hold a 35-28 lead with less than a minute remaining. Joe Flacco and the Ravens needed a miracle to force overtime. With under 40 seconds to go, Flacco heaved the ball downfield. The Broncos secondary blew easy coverage, and Jacoby Jones took it to the house to force overtime. And with that, the Ravens were still alive. Corey Graham would pick off Peyton Manning in overtime, which set up Justin Tucker's game-winning field goal. The Ravens would go on to defeat the San Francisco 49ers in Super Bowl 47, and Ray Lewis went out as a champion. That story wouldn't have ended on the perfect note if Flacco wasn't so cold-blooded in the freezing cold mile-high weather. Number 8, 2013 NFC Championship game. Richard Sherman saves Seattle. The San Francisco 49ers were on the verge of defeating the arch-rival Seattle Seahawks in their own stadium. They were oh so close to reaching their 2nd straight Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick just had to get them into the end zone. The 49ers drove into the red zone, with only 30 seconds left on the clock. Kaepernick spotted Michael Crabtree in the end zone, but Richard Sherman just barely got a hand on the ball. It landed right into the waiting arms of Malcolm Smith, who sealed Seattle's ticket to Super Bowl 48 with an interception. If Sherman doesn't get a hand on the ball, the Niners win the game, and Seattle would be standing here without a Super Bowl championship banner. What a time for Sherman to shine through and show he's ice water in his veins. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. Banana. I'm sorry. Number 7, Super Bowl 44, Tracy Porter seals the deal. The New Orleans Saints led the Indianapolis Colts 24-17 with only 3.5 minutes to go in Super Bowl 44. The Saints needed a stop, but that was easier said than done against league MVP Peyton Manning, especially with Reggie Wayne right at the side. Facing a 3rd and 6 situation, Manning targeted Wayne for what would have been an easy reception and a fresh set of downs. The Tracy Porter jumped in front, picked it off, and sprinted to the end zone. With that, the Saints had knocked off the Colts, and they clinched their first Super Bowl in franchise history. Porter will never end up in the Hall of Fame, but he'll certainly be remembered for being the hero that New Orleans needed most. That's quite a legacy to have. Number 6, 1975 NFC Divisional Round. Roger Staubach's Hail Mary to Drew Pearson. The Dallas Cowboys visited the Minnesota Vikings in the 1975 NFC Divisional Round, but America's team appeared to be out of luck. Dallas trailed 14-10 with less than 30 seconds remaining. They had the ball at midfield, but Roger Staubach could really only hope for a miracle. He took the snap and heaved a miracle pass downfield, hoping for the best. And Drew Pearson answered. That, ladies and gentlemen, gave birth to the Hail Mary play. Staubach claimed that he closed his eyes and said a Hail Mary prayer while delivering the pass, hence the name of the play. The cold-blooded Staubach and Pearson had shocked all of Minnesota with a historic play that changed the NFL forever. Number 5, Super Bowl 43, Santonio Holmes tiptoe catch. The Pittsburgh Steelers' top-ranked defense blew a 13-point fourth-quarter lead to Larry Fitzgerald Arizona Cardinals in Super Bowl 43. The Steelers got the ball back with 2:30, needing a field goal to tie and a touchdown to win. Santonio Holmes made a clutch 40-yard catch to set up a first-and-goal situation with 49 seconds left. The first pass from Ben Roethlisberger was incomplete. On second and goal, he found Holmes in the back of the end zone, and the latter came through with a phenomenal jaw-dropping tiptoe catch. The Steelers' defense would hold, and the franchise would win its 6th Super Bowl. Holmes was obviously named Super Bowl MVP after coming through in the clutch. Number 4, 1986 AFC Championship game. John Elway engineers the drive. The Cleveland Browns have been the NFL's saddest franchise in the Super Bowl era. Oh, how different things could have been if they just learned how to finish the job. The Browns, with thousands of screaming fans behind them, were one step away from the Super Bowl. They led by a touchdown with less than 6 minutes to go, and John Elway's Broncos were backed way up at their own 2-yard line. The task of going downfield to score and face overtime seemed impossible, but John Elway, cool under pressure, pieced together perhaps the most iconic drive in NFL history. Well, that was awfully easy. The Broncos had forced overtime, and you all know where the story goes. Elway's blood remained ice cold throughout overtime, and he set up kicker Rich Karlis for the game-winning field goal that sent Denver to the Super Bowl. Elway's a legend. You can't deny it. Number 3, Super Bowl 23, Joe Montana to John Taylor. Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers already had 2 Super Bowls under their belts. They just needed one more championship to clinch dynasty status. Montana and the 49ers met the Cincinnati Bengals in Super Bowl 23, since he led 16-3 with 3:10 left. Montana and San Fran were 92 yards away from the end zone. No pressure at all. Montana pieced together what many consider the greatest Super Bowl drive in history, and unlikely hero John Taylor capped it off. And with that, the 49ers had capped off the comeback. 92 yards was never so easy for Montana and company. The 49ers held on for their 3rd Super Bowl, becoming a dynasty once and for all. It simply wasn't possible without Montana's cold-blooded play. Number 2, Super Bowl 51, Tom Brady's comeback. As I always like to say, I bet my friend drinks for the whole night if the Patriots come back and win the game. And they did. You're welcome, Tom. The Atlanta Falcons built a 28-3 lead over the New England Patriots midway through the 3rd quarter in Super Bowl 51. Many Patriots fans in Houston headed towards the exits, while the many Patriots fans across the country began mocking Tom Brady, believing this loss would ruin his legacy. Brady and the Patriots kept chipping away at the lead. Eventually, the lead was cut down to 16, and then 8. Then the Patriots forced a punt, and Brady got the ball with 3:30 left, needing to go 91 yards for the score and a 2-point conversion. The resilient Brady withstood Atlanta's ferocious pass rush and drove the Pats downfield. James White scored a 1-yard rushing touchdown, and Danny Amendola caught the 2-point conversion attempt to force overtime. Brady and the Pats started with the ball in overtime, needing to go 75 yards for the win, and Tommy Terrific pulled off the most terrific comeback in NFL history. Now that's cold-blooded. Trailing by 25 points in the Super Bowl, and needing a giant touchdown drive just to force overtime, before finally putting it away in extra time with a simple, efficient drive. Yeah. That was totally cold-blooded. Number 1, Super Bowl 42. Eli Manning ends Patriot perfection. Heading into the 2007 season, Eli Manning was simply known as Peyton Manning's little brother. His New York Giants weren't supposed to have a chance against the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 42. Tom Brady and co. rewrote the record book that year, and the Patriots were trying to become the first 19-0 team in NFL history. The Pats entered the game as 12-point favorites. Brady hit Randy Moss for a go-ahead touchdown with just 2:42 left. Now Eli and company needed to go 83 yards against Bill Belichick's star-studded defense, loaded with Pro Bowlers and future Hall of Famers. With a little bit of serendipity and some help from an unsung hero named David Tyree, a cold-blooded Eli Manning pulled off the unlikeliest of miracles. And with that, the Giants had ended the Patriots' run at perfection. Manning was now an unlikely Super Bowl champion and MVP. He had escaped the shadow of his older brother. The G-men were on top of the football world, and it was thanks to a cold-blooded Eli and his Giants teammates. What other cold-blooded NFL moments should we have included on our list? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post great videos all the time as well. Subscribe to my Instagram. I post photos of me, and if you want to see more of me and give me some likes, I appreciate it. Same thing with TPS. We got all this stuff right here. Go subscribe. Subscribe to TPS on YouTube because we post videos all the time. New sports content all the time. Come on, subscribe. Go do it. You know what you want to. And give it a like too, because that really helps us out. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. My knee.